Once upon a time, in a kingdom full of bright sunshine and green hills, there lived a kind girl named Ella. She had golden hair like the morning sun and a heart as soft as a cloud. But her life was not as lovely as she deserved. After her parents passed away, she was left with her stepmother and two stepsisters, who were as cruel as winter winds. They made her cook, clean, and work all day, while they wore fancy dresses and lounged about. One day, the whole kingdom buzzed with exciting news. Prince Alaric was hosting a grand ball at the royal castle, inviting all the young women in the land. The prince hoped to find someone special to share his life with. Ella's stepsisters squealed with excitement. Piling her with extra chores to make their dresses perfect, Ella longed to go to the ball too, but when she asked her stepmother, the woman laughed coldly. "You? At the prince's ball? Look at your rags," she sneered. Ella's heart sank, and she watched the others leave for the castle, tears rolling down her cheeks. Just then, a soft, magical light sparkled in the garden. Out of nowhere appeared a beautiful fairy with kind, twinkling eyes. "Why are you crying, dear child?" the fairy asked. Ella wiped her tears and explained everything. The fairy smiled. "Well, let's see if we can change that," she said with a wave of her shimmering scepter. Suddenly, Ella's tattered dress turned into a gown made of silver and starlight. Her worn-out shoes transformed into glass slippers that sparkled like diamonds. "But how will I get there?" Ella asked. The fairy pointed to a pumpkin in the garden. With another wave of her scepter, it became a golden carriage, and 6 mice nearby turned into white horses. "Go enjoy the ball," the fairy said. "But remember, the magic will break at midnight, so leave before the clock strikes 12. At the ball, everyone stared as Ella stepped into the grand hall. Even her stepsisters didn't recognize her. The prince, drawn to her like a moth to a flame, asked her to dance. As they toured around the floor, Ella felt like she was floating in a dream, but then, the clock began to chime. Bong! It was midnight. Ella gasped and ran down the castle steps, her dress starting to fade back into rags. In her rush, she lost one of her glass slippers, but she didn't stop. The next day, the prince sent out a royal announcement. He would marry the girl whose foot fits the slipper. Every girl in the kingdom tried it on, including Ella's stepsisters, who shoved and squeezed their feet in vain. When it was Ella's turn, her stepmother scoffed. "Don't waste time on her," she said. But the prince insisted. Ella slipped her foot into the glass slipper, and it fit perfectly. The prince smiled. "I found you at last," he said. Ella's life changed forever that day. She married the prince and lived happily ever after, but she never forgot the lessons of kindness and hope that led her to her happy ending. And as for the glass slipper, it became a symbol of dreams coming true, no matter how impossible they seem. After the wedding, Ella moved to the royal castle, where her days were no longer filled with chores or cruel words. Instead, she was surrounded by people who admired her kindness and grace. She used her new position as a princess to help others, especially those who had been mistreated or forgotten, just as she once had been. The stepsisters, embarrassed by their actions, tried to apologize to Ella. She forgave them, but she made it clear that their unkindness had hurt her deeply. If you want to change, start by treating others with the respect and kindness you wish for yourself, she said. The stepsisters, humbled, promised to do better. Her stepmother, however, could not bring herself to admit she had been wrong. She left the kingdom in anger, vowing never to return. Though Ella wishes things could have been different, she realized that some people must find their way to change. As time passed, Ella and Prince Alaric worked together to make the kingdom a happier place. They opened the castle gates to everyone, not just the rich or powerful. They held festivals, built schools, and encouraged kindness in every corner of the land. One day, as Ella walked through the royal garden, she noticed something magical. The glass slipper she had once lost was now displayed in a golden case, sparkling in the sunlight. It reminded her of everything she had been through, the struggles, the magic, and the hope that had carried her forward. Ella smiled and whispered to herself, "No matter how hard life seems, there's always a little magic waiting to be found." And so, Her story was told throughout the kingdom, not just as a tale of love, but as a reminder to always believe in the power of kindness, courage, and dreams. The kingdom flourished, and Ella and Prince Alaric ruled with wisdom and compassion. And yes, they lived happily ever after, proving that even the simplest heart can create the greatest change. The moral lesson of Cinderella's story is kindness, courage, and hope can overcome even the hardest challenges. Ella's kindness, even in the face of cruelty, showed the strength of her character. Her courage to believe in a better future and her hope for a brighter tomorrow led her to a life of happiness and love. The story also teaches us that treating others with respect and fairness is important. Those who act with cruelty, like the stepmother and stepsisters, eventually face consequences. Goodness and perseverance are always rewarded. Even when life feels unfair, staying true to yourself can lead to amazing opportunities. Change starts within. Forgiveness and personal growth can help mend even the most broken relationships, but only if both sides are willing to change.